Do you believe Bill Belichick can rebuild a successful Patriots team? And to me, this goes back to Dale Arnold's tweet yesterday. Very interesting tweet from Dale. We talked about it late in the show, but it's worth revisiting here today because it comes on the heels of Ian Rappaport's story, report, as it were. I hate saying it that way. But Ian Rappaport's report on Bill Belichick and his contract status. Dale tweets late in the day yesterday.
Dale here.
Sources tell me, thanks, Dale, that the Bill Belichick contract is actually a 3-year extension that also addresses the potential end tenure. Interesting. Although that could be looked at again in the future, specific job descriptions were also reportedly laid out. And so to me, I'm not going to get caught up in 2 and 3 years. Curran says the contract is done at the end of 2024. He reiterated that today with Gresham Fourier. Dale says it's 3. Whatever. Okay, fine. I don't really care who's right, who's wrong about the tenure. And I'm not discounting Dale. Do you believe Bill can rebuild a successful Patriots team? This is what I want to get into today. And our options at Jones and Mego on Twitter, you can vote there. Yeah, in his current role. Yes, but in a different role. Or no, time to move on. And I think that spins off of Dale's tweet yesterday. I'm done with Bill, as you well know. I'm ready to move on from Bill. So my vote would be no, time to move on. But if Bill's staying and this contract does matter and Robert won't fire him because Robert won't eat the contract, I'd rather have Bill in a different role. The more I've thought about this, the more I want Bill in a different role upstairs where it's more nebulous and I don't exactly know what he's doing. I'm done with him on the sideline. I think largely, Sunday aside, they are 2-5. They were under 500 last year. They've missed the playoffs 3 out of the last 4 years, or they're on pace to miss it 3 out of the last 4 years. They haven't won a playoff game since prior to Brady's last season in New England. So to me, I don't want Bill in this role anymore. It's not working as head coach and the guy in charge of personnel. So I'm done with him. I'd like him to move on. But if they've been discussing what Bill's next phase will be, the coach without personnel power or moving upstairs and bringing in a different coach, I'd rather have him move upstairs. And I don't know that he'd have full personnel control. I don't know that he'd still be running the draft board or paying the players and picking the players. I'd rather have him in that role, which is a reversal for me because I don't think he's great at personnel, but I don't think he's a good head coach anymore. I don't think he's motivating the team. If they're discussing a role change for him big picture, that's what I would rather, Mego.
I feel so opposite. He is so much still a better coach than he is at personnel. And I think I'm one of the people who's been grasping at drafts over the last couple years, trying to look in the immediate season of how these young guys are playing and going, well, Marcus Jones, Gonzalez, these one guys that pop in each draft and trying to hold that up as proof that this is still working. And who knows how much of that is Matt Groh and if they're actually having this, drafting by committee that they made it seem like when they drafted Mac Jones. I would 100 times over take Bill the coach on game day, take Bill the coach leading up in the week and the entire process, than Bill the personnel guy. Bill moving upstairs makes no sense to me in any way. Like he's going to pick out everybody for Gerard Mayo to go then coach. I don't like that setup at all. And if he's picking out for someone like, okay, let's just say your crush, Frank Smith, who is the offensive coordinator down in Miami under Mike McDaniel.
Never heard of him. He's perfect, yeah.
Okay, so if Frank Smith comes in, do you trust Bill to then be drafting offensive players for him? Like he's going to be the one who's drafting wide receivers for somebody who's going to be operating a Mike McDaniel-style offense? That makes zero sense to me. So as you said, I understand you don't want Bill involved in any way at all.
Right.
I think if you're moving forward realistically and the Crafts intend to keep him under contract and keep him employed in the building, build a coach. Build a coach.
Here's all I would push back on. I don't know that he's like making all the draft picks. If he just moves up, if he's in like a senior advisor role, that to me doesn't mean you're the GM and you're drafting. Maybe Matt Groh is still drafting, or maybe there's somebody else who comes in with the new coach who's going to be drafting. And Bill is more in charge of like big picture direction of the franchise, that sort of thing. Which, again, I still don't love. I want him gone.
Yeah, what does that mean then?
I want him not back. It means he's in some sort of
hiring staff?
Emeritus role. It's some sort of role upstairs where it's like Parcells late or Coughlin late. it's something like that. I'd rather have him do it than coach because he's lost it as a coach, to me, Arcan.
He may have, but I mean, then he's not really rebuilding the Patriots, is he? Like, if that's his role, if he's just some emeritus, some figurehead in the, coming out and greeting all the people at the banquets, then that's not really him rebuilding a successful Patriots team. If he's going to be a part of any kind of rebuild, I'm with Mego. I don't want him anywhere near the front office. I don't want him drafting. I don't want him picking free agents. I don't want him doing any of that stuff. I feel like that's completely passed him by, and these last 2 years are evidence of that. I still think he can run a defense, so I would lean towards keeping him as a coach, but maybe just a defensive coordinator. I mean, if we're just going pie in the sky here and he's going to agree to whatever this is, then I'd have him stay as the D coordinator.
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
It's just as likely he does that than he moves up and becomes emeritus, isn't it? I mean, come on.
We've never.
No, my scenario is much more likely than Bill taking a demotion to defensive coordinator.
Yeah, when have we ever seen a head coach demote to defense coordinator in his same team?
But Arcan's not wrong. That's probably what Bill would actually be good at. That's probably all he'd be good at.
That's what I'd want, yeah.
Bill would be an excellent linebackers coach. It's not going to happen.
Do you actually want him back, though?
No.
Me neither. My real answer is no, I don't want him back, but forced to choose between the other two, Bill in his current role as the coach and personnel guy, or just kicking upstairs, I'd rather have him just kick upstairs. Do you want him back in any capacity, Mego?
Not really. To be honest, I'm kind of moved on. I understand we're coming off a great win on Sunday. I will reiterate that. And so that inspires a little confidence. But I got to say that one game is not going to change the bad taste in my mouth from 3 weeks before, and quite frankly, the last 2 years.
You haven't heard that they're back? And Max and All-Pro, you haven't heard that because he threw for 270 yards and didn't turn it over one time?
I don't want to poo-poo the fans' reaction to a good win.
I do.
You're fans. You should have that reaction.
Okay, good. Are Giants fans doing that in New York this week? Are Bears fans doing it?
Some are, yeah.
The Bears won with a backup quarterback? Are they like doing cartwheels and they're like, the Bears are back?
They're happy about that kid, yeah.
In New York? In New York, are Giants fans? Thank you. Are Giants fans doing cartwheels because Tyrod Taylor won a game?
Yeah. Jones, it's fandom.
Okay, but it's just silly. It's foolish.
From the perspective that I have, I sit here and I go, great, I'm glad that you're optimistic about the team. To be realistic, no, I'm moving on because mostly the product over the last 2 years has not been inspiring.
Okay, vote in the show poll. Again, at Jones and Mego. I'll update those numbers in a moment. You can also weigh in. 617-779-7937. Can Bill Belichick rebuild a successful Patriots team? Yes, he can. In his current role. Yes, but in a different role, which I guess is my vote after no. Time to move on entirely from Bill Belichick. Separate entirely is one of the Dennis system steps. I know that. That's what I want to do.
Physically.
Yes. No, I'll skip over engaging physically. I'm going to skip over all the other steps. I want to go right to separate entirely. I was a little encouraged by what I heard from Adam Schefter. We referenced this midway through the show yesterday. This is Schefter on the Pat McAfee show. I'm somewhat encouraged by this.
News kind of dropped out of nowhere that Bill Belichick signed an extension this past offseason, multi-year, lucrative. What does that mean? Was that for a coach, as GM? Was it just more money? How long is it? Is this what does this mean? You think? And how do we not find out about this until now? You think?
Because he always keeps details of his deals very private, and details of his deal never get out. And I don't believe a deal now has any bearing on his future going forward. I really don't. I think him and Robert Kraft will sit down at the end of the year and they'll make a decision mutually about what they each want to do, whether he has an extension or not. And they can figure out the best way to handle the situation, what they believe each side is better off doing, whether that's staying together, whether that's going their own ways. And I don't care whether Bill Belichick has a year left, 3 years left, 5 years left. It doesn't matter. To me, they're going to assess that situation on a year-to-year basis and figure out what's best for the both of them.
Okay. I'm encouraged by that. So it doesn't matter if it's 5 years. He's channeling his inner Jimmy Garoppolo conversation there, Arcan. Hey, wouldn't take 4 first-round picks. But whatever. Schefter might just be peeing on Rap Sheet's report.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Because he got scooped. But
everybody's mad at Rap right
now. The contract doesn't matter? Like, come on. It doesn't matter at all. Then why do it?
Okay. Well, I don't think it should matter at all. I have no idea if it does, but I don't think it should. It's just Robert Kraft's money. I don't give two craps about it.
No. I'm saying, but why would Kraft, if it doesn't matter, why would he even give him a contract in the first place?
Because he's a wuss. Because he's a wuss and he was too afraid to move on from Bill when he should have. That's why.
Well, then he's going to keep being a wuss, isn't he?
I don't know. I hope so. I hope not. But he might, probably, if I had to wager on it, Arkham, probably. That's why he might kick upstairs in an emeritus role, or that's why he might be coaching without all the power. Like, I think he wussed out. I mean, that's why he's back.
I just don't understand why you want him in an emeritus role. Like your
I don't,
overall,
Mego. I want him not back.
I know, but
I'm saying
if you
it's
have
forced to choose between the coach or upstairs.
Change
Upstairs.
The role.
Yes.
Why? Because you think that he's just going to have less influence.
Because the team looks dead. I know they won this week, but the team looks dead, and he doesn't resonate with the players anymore. And I have a feeling if he's just upstairs,
the team has a pulse this week
for 1 week. The Giants and Browns had a pulse for 1 week. That's what I'm telling you. Or the Giants and Bears, had a pulse.
Yeah, you were all over Justin Fields.
So when it comes to Bill, there's a chance that if he's just upstairs, maybe his words carry a little less weight than if he's the figurehead out front, forward-facing member of the organization as the head coach. And I'll change it a little bit. But that's me. What do you guys want to do? 617-779-7937. I'm going to tell you now. Early returns in the show poll want to separate entirely from Bill Belichick. 42% of you are done. Time to move on. He cannot rebuild the successful Patriots team. But given those other two alternatives, Bill in a different role or Bill in his current role,
he's currently nurturing dependence.
I'm winning. 30% say, yep, Bill in a different role. 28%, you guys are losers. Say Bill in his current role. Continue to vote there. Weigh in here on Jones and Mego with Arcan on the phones. Arcan with all the latest here in trending. And I do want to follow up on what we were just discussing about Robert Kraft wussing out on moving on from Bill Belichick. Do you trust him to do what's right? We'll get to that after trending.